In Chodesh Adar, right before the Shabbat before Purim, we read the parasha from, on the reading, we read the parasha from Parashat Ki Tetzeh, Zecher Mechiat Amalek, of erasing the memory, so-called. Zecher Mechiat, you have to remember to erase Amalek. Amalek was a nation, we spoke about it many times. Amalek was a nation that could not really be pinpointed, and it's very interesting about it. Amalek never had a place that was settled down. He always came from somewhere else. One time he was in a desert. One time he came from the eastern side of the Jordan River. Always comes somewhere else. In the Haggadah of Pesach, we says, "Bechol dor vador omdim aleinu lechalotenu." Every generation, there's a nation that wants to come up and destroy us. If you look at the interaction of Amalek and Am Yisrael, it is very interesting. Usually Amalek appears out of nowhere, and it's usually following an ordeal that Am Yisrael was not certain or sure about what and how and so on they were doing. They had doubts. We pointed out before that the numerical value of a doubt, safek, is the same numerical value as Amalek. It's the same thing. Now that we don't have a specific nation that we call Amalek, there are some Mefarshim that hold that Amalek is not necessarily a nation. Every nation that would follow the same characteristic of Amalek would fall under the category of Amalek. They don't have mercy, merciless. They will kill women, children, innocent. They always try to go over the weak one. They will never deal with the strong ones, and so on and so forth. But more than that, Amalek could be in the avodah pnimit, in the internal work, could be a big lesson for us. Amalek always comes when we have a doubt. So when the reason for Amalek to come is doubts that we have in ourselves. Mechiat Zecher Amalek, if there is no nation today that is called Amalek, how could I fulfill the mitzvah of Zecher Amalek? So if every nation and every time in history, whether it's current history, when Jews in Israel or Jews in the world, I read something pathetic yesterday. There's a guy in Israel, he's an old guy, some kind of a historian, philosopher, or something like this. I even know his name is so meaningless, but it's so stupid. He wants to recreate communities of apikorsim Jews, true Jewish atheists that will stay loyal to the tradition, but there will be apikorsim. In other words, Am Yisrael is chas v'shalom about to vanish. We are fighting almost a lost battle. That's what you have to worry about. It's unbelievable. And if there is no nation that is called Amalek, so how do I do it? So if you look right now in Israel, there are people, or in America or anywhere, there are people who would argue that Am Yisrael not necessarily belongs in Eretz Yisrael. Jews should not really be doing what they're doing. The Torah is not real. And the arguments. Some stupid arguments that we always hear. So guess what happened? If you don't see your right for the land, so somebody else that makes a claim has more claim on it than you. So in our generation, very possible that the immediate enemies around Israel are actually the Amalek. They follow the same characteristic. They kill the women, the children, the innocent. They come to you when you're weary and you're tired, and so on and so forth. They're Amalek. By the way, people don't know it, and it's like so disgusting to me. People would completely forgotten the direct connection between the Palestinians and their affiliation with the Nazis in Germany in World War II. It's hush hush, nobody talks about that. World War II, the Germans. We forgot. We wanted to be like the rest of the people. We married non-Jewish people. We ate non-Jewish food. We lost our Jewish identity. Even Herzl himself, at one point of his life, Herzl, you know, the guy with the beard, when he wrote in Basel, I inaugurate the Jewish state. Again, most nations in the world, including the United States, does not recognize Israel being a Jewish state, which is another pathetic thing. How does this happen all of a sudden? You know why? Because you don't want to see yourself as a Jew. So they says, you're right, you know, it's not a Jewish state. And maybe you are an intruder. So World War II, when Jews were flocking out of Judaism, there was a nation that came in, very Amalekically oriented, did exactly what the Torah said it will do. They were Amalek. So the Germans were Amalek. And speaking German is Amaleki. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why anybody would be so proud to speak a language that is derivative of German, straightforward. Don't know. I wouldn't. Every generation, when Jews forgot what they were doing, and they were fighting with each other, so the Romans came, and what happened? They killed everybody. So there's a form of Amalek. So there's the physical Amalek. This nation, this concept that is left empty and is filled every generation when the Jews have a doubt about the Judaism and everything else that comes along with it. But there is also the spiritual Amalek. The spiritual Amalek works on a national, on a global, and an individual level. And Amalek has weapons. So if you want to ask me, how is it possible that all of a sudden people, they came and they fought for the country and this and this and that, all of a sudden they're not quite sure that maybe we are the oppressors. Maybe we are the invaders. How could it be that we are the invaders? We took back what was ours. If some Iroquois from upstate New York would have a claim to its land that you're sitting on, you would say, listen, you know, we took it from them. Would you? If some Oglala, Sioux, or Lakota will want his land back, well, what do you think they put them in reservations for? Huh? What do you think they are in reservations? Why do you think the Lakota, the Sioux, all these reservations, the Cheyenne reservation, the Blackfeet reservation, why do you think they put the Indians in reservations? Do you know why? Those reservations are no more than concentration camps. They put them there. Those Indian reservations are the poorest places in the United States. They are more poor than some third world country. They want to drunk them. They want to make them lose their language. They want to make them lose their identity. Why? Because they don't want them to make a claim for the land. So that's one way to deal with a nation. You subdue them. You make them all alcoholic. So why is that the Jews are the invaders? How is it that some Jews would say, yeah, we are, you know, we should give back? What do you mean give back the West Bank? What do you mean give back? Our right to the land is because God has given it to us. And you're right, if you don't believe in God, I don't think that you have a claim as a person to the land that you're sitting on. If you are a Israeli, sitting in Israel, the land of Israel, and you don't believe in God, and you don't believe in what the Torah had said, so in what right do you sit there? You need to show you're an invader. But once I'm keeping the Torah, and I keep the Torah, and mitzvah yeshuv haaretz, it's like any mitzvah. So when I keep Shabbat, when the Torah tells me, keep Shabbat, so therefore you can hold the stick from both hands. Even though you can bend it. That's about it. But you can't tell me that this is the Jewish right by God, by the Bible, to sit in the land of Israel, because then I would ask you, but it says in the Bible also to keep Shabbat. And it says in the Bible to take care of the weak and the weary and so on and so forth. Oh, you don't do that. So what, you pick and choose? And slowly, slowly the doubts start to come into your head. And you know what? You know what's the tools of the doubt? It's the media. It's the media. Within one generation, things that were, behaviors that were completely tabooed. Completely. They were borderline, and sometimes they were classified as a mental disorder. Today are mainstream. So there is a spiritual safek. When you watch TV and you watch commercials, you watch all these things, and you watch arguments, even people like, oh, I watched this rabbi arguing with this priest. It's all fake. I don't believe any of this. But when you watch those things, you don't know what ideas actually filter into you. You are not in control. You are being passive of the situation. So whatever the director wanted to present it to you, that's what eventually will penetrate into you, because you allowed it. You're passive. How many Jews have you heard after the Passion by what's his name? Not Mel Brooks. What's his name? Mel Gibson. Mel Brooks is a different guy. You heard about Jews really being crooks and so on and so forth. How many times do you hear people talking about 2012, the end of the world? If I'm not mistaken, we're in 2014. Our world did not end. It's all the time. It's a non-stop bombardment. How do you deal with this? That is the Yetzer Hara. This is the safek. This is the weapon. This is the spear in which he comes in and he penetrates and he puts the venom in you. Slowly, slowly, you'll die out of I don't know what. Infection. It poisons you. And then when you're weak and the infection spreads in your body and you have a temperature and you're not feeling good, then he comes and he delivers the finishing punch. It kills you. And that's exactly what happens to Israel now. And this is exactly what happens in the story of Purim. Am Israel forgot what it was. Listen, the king is making a big party, his inauguration, we gotta go, it's not nice, Chilul Hashem if we don't go, you stop, blah, 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 blah. No, we don't do it. If you understand your position, if your head is in the sky and your legs are in the ground, and you understand that your job is to be mechaber, connect shamayim va'aretz. So when you walk into a store, since your head is in the sky, if you're hungry and you see non-kosher food, you're not going to eat it. It's not an issue for you. You don't even see it. You don't see the temptation. But when your head is in the ground and your feet are on the ground, and you don't connect heaven and earth, you eat because you're hungry. No more than just another animal. And then you don't know who you are, what are you doing, and so on and so forth. And then the doubt comes, it's really true. When was the last time anybody seen God? Are the rabbis really, is the Torah really? And then you're going to come up with some, morons. like the Jewish Theological Seminary and all those bright lights over there, they tell you that the Torah, it was written over a period of time and it was not given from Sinai and so on and so forth. Why do you bother call yourself a Jew altogether if this is your approach? Why are you crowning yourself with a crown that you don't belong, doesn't belong to you? So therefore the mitzvah of mechiyat zecher Amalek, they erase the memory of Amalek in our time is to remove not only the doubts, but also the tools and the weapons in which we allow those doubts to penetrate into us. And therefore a person, when you pagash bechaoto menuval, when this wicked person met you, mashcheu lebet midrash, bring him to bet midrash, because he has no yecholet here. When you come and you learn the Torah, you understand what is right and what is wrong. You learn about yourself. You learn about your place in the world. You're not lost. And when you're not lost, you know where you're going. There's no doubts. You know exactly what needs to be done. You know exactly what you need to do. Everything is set for you to choose whichever one. You want to learn halacha, learn halacha. You want to learn Gemara, Kabbalah, whatever you want. Your choice. You have no doubts. And when you have no doubts, you're a free person. Because when you have no doubts, it's like a person that has anxiety, doesn't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Left, right, left, develop anxiety. I don't know what to do. I'm paralyzed. So remove any doubts, become knowledgeable. Come, ask questions, seek answers, grow, develop. You know what to do. You become free. Have a great day.